Oh, snap. Okay.
All right. Hi, guys. This is Literary Group 5. We decided to do and discuss Blaxicans on page 140 of 75 readings. And the reason why we have Miss Julie here in the phone view is because we were having technical difficulties with the Hangout. And so this is the way we're going to broadcast. Yeah. So we're going to start off with the first question. And that is, what is the thesis statement? And if you look at page 140, the first paragraph, we decided that the last sentence of the first paragraph is the thesis statement, which states, how will they fit in with us? No, sorry. Thus we who are here first, we begin to question our own identity, which is kind of giving you a broad example of what we're going to discuss, which is people discovering their identities. So that's what we took out of the thesis statement. Anybody have anything to say on that?
Well, I agree with you with the same thesis statement. We are discovering here in America who we are, what society are we living in.
You heard that, Miss Julie?
I heard the thesis statement is the one that we talked about in the beginning, the one that's on in paragraph 1, the last sentence.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yay.
Yay.
All right, so everybody agrees. So can we move on to question number 2?
Totally agree. Yeah.
All right, so the next question is, what are some of the themes prevalent? What in the text exemplifies the themes?
I would say some of the things that are cultures in America, especially like in Sacramento where Richard grew up. He basically pointing out, to everyone here in America.
Yeah, I think it's about like, the theme is about culture, of your identity as a person, as your culture, like what you are, where you're from.
Also, adapting to your surroundings where you live, and just trying to get along.
Miss Julie said your environment, right, Miss Julie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think all can be applied.
Yeah, and it's also it also explains or it tries to go more in depth instead of just black and white as far as race. On page 141, paragraph 4, it's the American conversation about race has always been black and white conversation, but the conversation has become as bloodless as badminton. So it's kind of going into more depth instead of just the average black and white discussion that we have about race and culture. So.
Yeah, I agree, because like now people are not only judging based on your skin tone, but they're also judging you by your color, and they're being like ignorant about it and stereotypical about it too.
Right.
Exactly. So yeah, that's what we felt was prevalent as far as the theme. Anybody else have a comment on that question?
You have a comment on that question, Miss Julie?
No, we're not.
All right, so we'll move on to question 3. The essay is for what type of audience?
I remember saying it that the audience that the author was trying to do, he did it as first person point of view, which is like for example, paragraph 1, you see the word we a lot. On page 140, he mentions that several times throughout the whole story. He says it many times actually. And then he also uses the word I, like when we're reading it, we're saying it as if it was us. By using the word we, he's like including us in his story. Like we all can relate.
Right.
And I also see that he He mentioned, like young people, young generations, they are just reinventing new names here in America, and he is pretty much the audience. It's pretty much helping us to see and feel emotionally and somehow for the ones that don't understand the cultures, people that don't understand exactly what um, race and culture mean. The two different meanings have a definition. Like race is Black African American. My race is, Hispanic, and my cultures are Latin. But until we realize what those two meanings are, people will be more, especially young ones, they will understand more.
Yeah, especially to, like today's generation, a lot of us are multicultural. So a
Yeah.
lot of us are not just one race or one ethnicity or one culture. A lot of us are like have a mixture of everything.
So it can make
Exactly.
people feel a little bit confused and emotionally a little bit. That's
So we all agree that the audience that he's trying to reach out to is pretty much everyone because everyone has a race and everyone could relate to the story.
Yeah.
All right. Any other comments or concerns on this particular question, ladies?
No.
Miss Julie, anything?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So the
Okay.
next question states, what imagery does the author use to keep the essay interesting?
Okay. An imagery is like when you on page 143 on paragraph 17, the last like second to the last sentence, it says culture is fluid, culture is smoke. You breathe it, you eat it. So what I understood from that, like culture is gonna be everywhere. It's gonna flow everywhere. It's gonna be everywhere you go. You can either like take it in, or you can just like throw it away. Like don't pay any mind to it. Like I mean, you can always adjust to it
You can
too.
either embrace it or forget about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah, I agree with you as well.
What
Miss
about
Julie?
But it's true. It says, and that's what I like. Culture is fluid. Culture is smoke. You breathe it, you eat it. And I think here he making a statement. Rodriguez making a statement. When you are immersed in a culture, you accept it. And immersed means involves oneself deeply in a particular interest. You accept it and take it like you would if you breathe in the air, or you take it like you eat food. So that's a
Yeah.
that's a very good statement there about what he's saying about how you take culture in, and he's using examples because we as people we take in fluid and we take in smoke and we take in air and we take in food, so that's what we eat.
yeah? I completely agree with you.
Hmm.
Agree.
Another imagery that I found was on page 144, um, on paragraph 20. The first sentence it says like I do think distinction exists. I'm not talking about an American tomorrow in which we're going to find that black and white are no longer the distinguishing marks of separateness, but many young people I meet tell me they feel like Victorians when they identify themselves as black or white. They don't think of themselves in those terms. Like I've never really like thought of it that way, but it's true. Like I don't think of myself as black and white. I think of myself as a person. Like I don't think of myself as like this color of skin tone. I just live my life, enjoy my culture, and like enjoy other people's cultures.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree with you. As long as you know
And I
yourself and you know where you're coming from.
read paragraph 20, the last part of it, because you stopped at terms. It says, because the whole 20th paragraph is very good. It says, and they're already moving into a world in which tattoo or ornament or movement or commune or sexuality or drug or rave or electronic bombast are the organizing principles of their identity. The notion that they are white or black simply doesn't occur. And I think what he's saying there is The one only thing that he's talking about, the community has only thing that the community has to offer you is change. He was describing how we as Americans no longer identify ourselves with race, i.e., considered as black or white. That's what he's talking about. That's what I got out of paragraph 20.
That is true. Because, like, for example, like Martin Luther King's time, they used to see each other as black and white. In today's society, we don't see each other as black and white. We're like many things, you know?
Mhm.
That's true. That's just like if you go up to paragraph 19. That's also something that you can think about with the question as well. It said on his interview, it said on his interview show, Bill Warriors once asked me how I thought of myself as an American or Hispanic. I answered that I am Chinese, and that is because I live in a Chinese city and because I want to be Chinese. So he took on a culture that he actually want to be, not saying that he was Chinese.
But that's just what he's gotten adjusted
He
to, and
fell in place with the
Yeah.
environment and the community he was in.
Yeah.
mhm,
He believed that a community doesn't give stability. It's not you're not stable. A community is not stable, and a community is no stable no stability there. Sorry. But the American culture and the community that what he's saying are forever changing with cultural identity. So whatever you choose, whatever identity you would choose, you adapt to. That's what you're gonna be in because that's what you believe in. Not because you black or white or Hispanic or American. He wasn't Chinese, but he wanted to be a Chinese. So he developed their culture.
That's true. You, like,
exactly.
adapt to your environment.
And he
Yeah.
just like Mrs. Julie. Yeah, I agree with you with your point. And he just he just really using those terms to like helping us understand, helping us feel comfortable that what this happening only here in America. But when it comes to other cultures, like you mentioned early, Mrs. Julie, we don't even really make it as a big deal, because
Right.
in with each other and where we come from. But I believe it's just here in America that it exists, making up some other names.
Okay. All right. So you guys ready to move on to the next question?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question is, what techniques does the author use to help a general reader audience relate to the essay?
Again, like,
And I think,
oh, go ahead.
go ahead, Ileana.
No, it's fine. I talk too much.
Oh no, go ahead, because I was getting ready to go back on your point with the we and the I. So
Yeah, I
you
was
go
gonna say
ahead.
the same thing. Like I said earlier, the first person point of view, that it's like including his reader and helping us, like, to relate to the essay. And not only that, like, he'll use like different examples from different cultures, like, Chinese, European, a whole bunch of stuff.
Exactly. So he put himself in the reader's shoes because he's also dealing with it, and we can all relate because we're all a part of this society, and we all see that culture and race plays a huge part, and we've all experienced it. So he connected with us by giving us examples that he's come from. So I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Any, anybody else have anything to say on that one?
I have one of the techniques that I see he uses is telling us the truth, and helping us understand that it's pretty much it leaves us a great message to understand the truth that's going on. So he does use he has a purpose by sharing this with us in a nice way, in a nice, not to hurt us a lot more, whoever doesn't understand the essay. Make us feel,
It's like in the very last sentence, he says, unless you understand, page 145, the last paragraph, 25, he's like, unless you understand that I am Chinese, then you have not understood anything I have said. So basically, throughout this whole story, like, he has found his identity. And, like, he's trying to, like, get us to understand that even though he's Mexican, like, he's Mexican descendant, like, he's still, like, consider himself Chinese, not Mexican.
Exactly, because he adapted to their culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's just like the first time we did this, when we were talking about Brittany, when you brought up about the Jamaicans and how there was like Chinese Jamaicans and white Jamaicans, and
Exactly.
they're white, but they're Jamaican because that's their culture. That's where they live. That's what they know. So they're not white. They're Jamaican. So
Yeah.
Good job, ladies. Anybody else have any comments or concerns on this particular question?
Nope. Move on to the
Miss
next
Julie? Nothing?
where's Miss Julie?
Where is Miss Julie?
Oh, I have her face, guys.
You slacking, Ileana. You are slacking. Your hand can get tired. Your hand can get tired.
I know I got something to say. I'm going to say it now, right?
I'm trying to have her face, guys, and you guys are talking. That's why.
Oh, okay. We just making sure. Don't be dropping Miss Julie like that.
Right, your hand can get tired.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next question, and I think we're on. Okay, what kind of descriptive language stands out? What's the most vivid image one might take away from the essay?
I saw actually it was something that you read, Brittany, in a previous question that I was like, oh, okay. So when you read paragraph 4, the American conversation about race has always been a black and white conversation, but the conversation has become as bloodless as badminton. Like that's what they use to describe how the conversation is. Bloodless is like dull. Like there's no really any thought into conversation, because like badminton is a pretty dull sport if you know what it is. So
yeah, I just looked it up. Like badminton means a game with rackets in which shuttlecock is played back and forth across the net. So it's kind of like tennis, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like tennis, but it's like this little. It's almost like a little plastic flower thing that they kind of just like.
Oh, that game. Okay, that one.
Yeah, that's badminton.
No,
so like the conversation, it's black and white and it's dull and no one wants to go beyond that point. Like they only want to talk about it being black and white, and it's not just black and white. It's so much broader than that, because there's other cultures that can be added into that conversation. So I thought that was good.
I agree, because like anybody, like skin tone wise, I'm probably am mixed with black and white because it's the only way you get to my skin tone. But like there's different cultures though, it's not just like you said, adult conversation. It's more than just your skin tone. It's like a whole bunch of other stuff, and it's a broad topic that it's also a sensitive topic that a lot of people don't like to talk about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They basically, the black and white basically stands out through the whole essay.
Yeah. I feel like this essay wasn't black and white at all. I feel like he really went into and touched like the right topics, and he also used like a lot of like descriptive language, like similes and a lot of imagery for us to see like what he's talking about.
Exactly. And I think in the prior video we did, I think Ileana, you were. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, sorry. Paragraph 8, I think you were reading, I might marry your daughter, you might become we might become us. And it was pretty much like that's kind of what you're taking away from this whole paragraph is I mean this whole essay is just like, we might become one, you might be Jamaican, I might be Colombian, but if we combine families, then we're gonna all be one. And we're gonna adapt to each other's culture. So that's the image that you kind of put in your head when you think about this essay, because it's like, I'm not just black anymore, or I'm not just, Spanish anymore. I'm actually a part of the culture that I could be Chinese if I wanted to be Chinese, if I wanted to adapt to their culture. So it's like we all a part of the society, but we can be or choose to go up under whichever culture we wanted to. Um, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I agree. Like when you marry somebody from a different culture, you become one. Like you share your culture, you share your values, and you learn how to adapt to one another and like be able to make it as one.
I'm sorry, my coworker is in the background. I do apologize.
Because
She was typing.
I'm Afro-American and my husband is Bahamian. So I have to adapt to my culture and his and also.
Exactly.
Because sometimes the way he uses his language, I'll be like, what? Hey, stop playing. Stop. I don't understand that. You got to come play with me, so he has to find another way just as well as the way we talk and say some things, even with food wise.
Yeah,
Certain things, we eat a lot of things the same, but they might cook it in a different way compared to what we cook it.
yeah,
So
that's true.
we adjust. See, he loves fish. My husband can eat fish 7 days a week, all day,
Mm.
every day. I eat fish. Yeah, I eat it maybe once a day, but that's their culture. So it's good when you are married and you have different cultural environments as well because you learn about each other.
I also like how he like identify like a lot. He puts out with his like using descriptive language like the United States a lot. They like to judge us and put us in like one category. Like for example, the paragraph 8, the last sentence says, "I can remain Mexican, whatever that means, in the United States of America." So he's basically saying like that only exists in America. That doesn't exist like any other country. And then also I remember we discussed
Was
I
it
think
paragraph 12?
yeah, paragraph 12, where
Yeah, I
like
was
they
thinking the
have
same
like
thing.
yeah, different. Like when you go to Latin countries, they don't see you as Hispanic. They see you as whatever you are. Like I would go to my to like Mexico, they would think I'm Dominican. Like I am Dominican. That's what I am. I'm not Hispanic. I'm Dominican.
Yeah,
But
I
I
agree.
think you get a lot of Dominicans and Hispanics and the Mexicans all mixed up together
Hmm.
because I guess because they all the cultures speak Spanish. Is
Yeah,
that the reason why I think they get kind of mixed up because they're looking at Dominican Republic, Puerto Ricans, the Hispanic, the Cubans, the Puerto Ricans, the Mexicans, all those cultures can speak Spanish.
yeah. I think that's how they
Right.
do it too. But I also think a lot of people don't know that there's so many Hispanic countries. Like some people just know. Like when, for example, when people ask me, "Oh, are you Hispanic?" I'm like, yeah, I am." They're like, "What kind? Are you Mexican? Are you Puerto Rican?" They're already making the choices for me, you know. I'm just like, but wait, there's like
Right.
so many islands and countries, you know.
Yeah.
That's just like actually if you're black or white.
Yeah, I get that all the
You
time.
know? It is. It's like you either you
Well,
in Spanish world, you're either Mexican or Puerto Rican. There's no Ecuadorian or nothing.
Going places and
I
I
was
ain't
thinking,
I'm Spanish. And I was like,
Okay.
no, I really look Spanish. I was like, I wish I could speak the language.
I was gonna say it in page 142, every Latin American, one sees every race in paragraph 15. Everyone sees every race of the world. One sees white Hispanic, one sees black Hispanics, one sees brown Hispanics who are Indian. Many of whom do not speak Spanish because they resist Spanish. So if we compare blacks and Hispanics, there is two construct and installations fiction. So the Hispanic accept the fictions, they don't take it personal. We know that we have easily accustomed. ourselves living here. And we don't, like I said, we don't see it as a big deal, but the most vivid images that I take from this essay is um, just being united. It's the greatest thing that we have here, and we just have to leave one another in a humble way, and it's a great message for everyone who wants to, just admit it and accept who we are.
All right, I think we
And
made some good points in that one. Yes, go
Yeah.
us. Okay,
now
so finally, we are on the last question of the day, and it is, why was the essay included in the 75 readings?
I believe the essay was included because it has a lot of discussions about cultures. It has direct evidence in the text. Um, it also has a lot of quotations that we can use and use them for this type of discussions in college and any other schools. Any other children in school can be using these essays. Teachers will put this together, for everyone to learn, and that's what I believe. That's why I think they picked this type of essay to be in this book. It is for international, and the whole world can read these essays. Very specific.
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree.
um I think this book has a lot of topics that aren't really um discussed often. So this story is one of them. So I think that's why it was probably added, just to like open up people's minds and have them actually think about different things that they probably wouldn't normally think about.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, I think like in the back of the book it says that this edition includes more essay on contemporary technology, food production, distribution, and use, and cultural identity in America. And I completely agree with them because it's like saying, they're trying to get like modern stuff that actually is occurring today and stuff that we may not know. Like, I know this occurs, like the stuff that's occurring in this essay, because I also have problem with my own identity when people are asking me. Like, I'm like, they're like, "What are you?" I'm just like, I'm American. They're like, but what are you? Like, I'm just like, I don't know what you're trying to ask me. But like, it's true. 'Cause I'm not the only one who struggles. That everybody does, and people can relate to contemporary, stuff, the modern stuff that's occurring today, society.
Yeah, it has great examples. I agree with you.
Good
Miss
example.
Julie, do you have anything to say?
That's true. That's true. I understand that. And it's a good thing it is in the book because you got a lot of colleges, you got a lot of people that's in school, no matter what age, that's able to read and get to a certain area. And I think it should be known in dealing with a lot of American literature classes because people need to know and they need to hear, someone that's experience because it'll help somebody else on how to deal with certain things. And a lot of times people feel that they're not accepted because of their culture.
That's true.
But it's a good thing it is in the book because it taught me something. I didn't expect for this type of essay to be in this book, but when I read it, well, some of them, a couple of them, it tells a lot of their life stories. They are like, life story events that actually happen in somebody's life. So what they're doing is they're passing it on to somebody else where they can read it. Because someone else probably going through that same situation. I'm pretty sure they are. So to
Right,
me,
right, right.
I like it because it gives an insight on what to think about as your culture, not just only your culture, your race, and your environment that you are adapting to.
Exactly. So I think we all pretty much could say that from this, well, we understand why they put it in, because I know I was recently in my sociology class, and one of our assignments was to find out, you know, what was our culture, like what was our background, and being
Hold
that my
on.
oh my
Is
God,
he
what
gonna
just
hang
happened?
up?
I don't know. I see we're
What?
still live. Oh, she's back. Okay, Eliana, we scared us. Wait, she's almost here.
Wait, what happened? Like,
I don't know.
it still
I
says it's
see her
live.
icon. Yeah. There
Did
she
you
goes.
disappear for a minute?
What
Okay,
happened?
it was still recording. Okay, good. I
Okay.
don't know what I accidentally mute Crystal and I was trying to unmute her.
Oh yeah, I
Oh,
seen it and I unmuted
wow.
myself.
Oh,
When
okay,
I
I was
looked
Wow.
up,
like,
I was like, why am I muted?
Wow. Okay,
Don't
you
play with
made us
me.
nervous.
I
Look, we
scared
have been on this
myself.
road too many
Please
times.
don't tell me.
Don't play with
Yes.
me.
What? Okay. But
Okay, so
sorry, back to my
anyone,
thought.
sorry.
Um, yeah, in my recent sociology class, they asked for the assignment to be like, find out what your culture is like, find out the background of your parents. And when I went back to class, I was like, I mean, I did the research, but I'm just American. Like, my family's from America. Like, I'm just black, and we don't really. She's like, well, you know, she made me open my eyes to like, you don't have to just be like African American. You can adopt like different cultures, like as far as you can be a part of like a social culture or like a musical culture. It's not just your race itself that defines your culture or where your family's from. It's just like things that you
Right.
adapt to in your surroundings. So that kind of opened my eyes, and this essay kind of like broaden it even further, being that, you know, you can pretty much adapt to any culture that you want to. Like, it's just up to you what you prefer. So
Yeah,
I
that's
took,
true.
yeah,
And it's
Yeah,
also like your environment and stuff. You know, like my ancestry, they probably moved so many places. Like I don't know, they probably just adapt to the location.
exactly. So,
yep, I'm completely agree with you guys.
all right,
And
ladies. Any other comments or concerns on this last
no,
question? Yay!
yeah, would that conclude our presentation or
Yep, we still
Yay!
yeah?
We
live.
finally made
Yay!
it.
Bye. We
And,
did this.
and hopefully
Okay, so how
after
about we
today,
celebrate after it's uploaded?
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
okay,
that's
hope
And he has the
Microsoft.
link. How about we do that?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Have
Almost
a
got
nice
are we
Okay.
able
day.
to stop recording?
Okay, guys. Later,
yeah.
Dr. Super.
Bye.
Okay.